Okay, say, when you finally decided to take this plunge into pageantry, what were your main considerations? Siyempre, it's not bibiro ang pumasok sa national pageantry. Considering ngayon, ang dami sabay-sabay.
Yes.
What considerations did you have in mind when you finally decided, okay, I'll sign up for Miss Philippines?
First of all, Tito, I love that you use the word plunge because that's really what I did. I did plunge into it. So the considerations po is that, so I think my age, I'm 27, and we all know that pageantry has its age limits. So people will always tell me, oh, you should join pageants. And parang before, with myself, I was thinking, oh, baka hindi ko kaya. So one day, I kind of like woke up and said to myself, parang I don't want to be that girl anymore who didn't try because she thinks she can't do it. Yes.
Pero ikaw, say, anong basa mo sa pageantry dito sa Pilipinas? Alam mo naman na way of life ng pageantry dito sa Pilipinas.
Yeah.
But just to say, the pressure is high. Kahit mo itong pageant sa sarili mo. Have you prepared yourself for the nitty-gritty pageant life?
I feel like in everything that I do, that I felt before that I couldn't do. So for example, the hobbies that I have now, like bee diving or obstacle course racing, before I started doing them, I felt that I couldn't do it. But like you said, I just plunged into it, and then as my journey continues in this kind of things, I learn more about myself, and then I become stronger. So
Anong say ni Mami at Daddy? The first time na nagsabi ka sa kanila,
the very
Mami
first
Daddy sa kanila.
the very first time that I told my mom, parang sabi niya, why? But you're so successful already in your other endeavors. Like, why are you like joining a pageant and then starting over again? So I'm like, kasi even though I'm successful in the other things that I do, like I said, I'm a volunteer at heart, and before I will kind of laugh at the other girls. It's not a proud moment. I will kind of laugh at the other girls when they say, oh, this is my passion. To be in this pageant is my passion. But now, being in their position, I now understand why they think like that. Because
Oo, naka-live eh.
Yes.
Parang yun, papanuurin ko din mga mobile. Ano ba pinapatamaan?
But like, I feel like you won't really understand kasi if you're not in the position. But now that I'm in the journey as well, I'm so much passionate about it than I will say everything else that I do. So before, kasi po when with volunteering, when we would organize events, there will always be questions behind my head. Parang, oh, am I doing something talaga? Am I really making an impact? Or this is just, what will happen to these people after the volunteering event? So parang, right now, if you're gonna be given this platform, imagine what you can do as an individual, and as a volunteer, as a private citizen. But imagine what more you can do as someone who has a platform like Miss Earth.
Kasi boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah, ano, yung support niya sa'yo, kumbaga. Is he 100% supportive of you?
I think I would say it's about like 500%.
Oh!
Bakit gusto mong candidate? 500%.
Mga 500% siguro yung support.
Diba? Parang nag-hindi lang matapos yung pageant. Sabi ko, The next question is from our newly Edison.
Edward. Hi, Saya. Taguig. So we're live now at Pageantology 101. So, first question, who's your favorite Miss Philippines Earth winner? Or Miss Earth?
Baka piyas.
Okay. It's definitely Miss Karen Ibasco.
And why?
Because I feel like when she talks with so much conviction. Like parang when she talks, it makes you want to get up and do something. So I aspire to be like that.
And for those who's kaka-tune in lang dito sa live natin, so can you please tell us about your advocacy?
Okay, so my advocacy is empowering people into realizing that we are the change that we are the ones we've been waiting for. So just a little background about that phrase. So that phrase keeps coming back to me when I need it. Parang I remember the most recent, parang nagwo-work pa ako in corporate. And then kakatapos lang ng work. And this is the time where Frozen 2 came out. And then so parang nanood ako ng sine mag-isa. And then, sorry if it's out of topic. And then Elsa's mom was singing so this is the adventure of Elsa, parang trying to find herself again. And then her mom was singing to her with the phrase na, you are the one you've been waiting for, you don't need someone else. So that's what I want for everyone. In terms of their ambitions, in terms of protecting the earth. So yeah, we are the ones we've been waiting for because no one person or no one organization will truly be able to solve our problems now with the earth. And I plan to do this with driving environmental awareness through our communities and pushing for renewable technology with our policymakers because with change for the earth, we can't really focus on just communities and just policymakers. We have to have them hand in hand kasi it doesn't go just one way. That's why. So again, in short, the advocacy is called Project Earth. So Earth stands for Environmental Awareness and Renewable Technology for Humanity. It's an acronym.
Last question. This is your first time to join national pageant
It
or any
is.
pageant?
A lot of people don't know, but I actually did try joining Binibini last year, but I didn't make it to the top 40 because it's so funny since I don't have any exposure in the pageant world. I don't know anyone in the pageant world, and no one in the family ever joined a pageant. So I kind of just like went in there and submitted my application, and then the other girls will ask me, oh, what's your camp? Who's your trainer? Who's your handler? I'm like, ay, kailangan pala ng camp.
You have come pa ngayon?
Now, yes.
Under
AF.
Under Tito Roger.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
girl.
you.
And gusto ko lang i-acknowledge si Jonathan the late Jonathan.
Nakakaloka
Pagkakalanin natin muna si Jonathan.
Kain na, sir.
Ayan, si Jonathan. The next question.
The next talaga.
The next talaga. From Eventology, si Fergie Avero.
Also,
What is your advocacy prior to joining Miss Philippines Earth, and what is your advocacy now in joining Miss Philippines Earth, and how would you make that to advocacy sa buong kanina?
My advocacy ever since has always been about empowerment.
Okay.
Because I feel like, first of all, as someone who's been a volunteer and like a core officer in an NGO, I feel like if you empower others, you also empower yourself. So I want to make people realize that they have a choice in driving their own paths in life. So that's always been my core.
Your core advocacy.
Yes.
And your advocacy.
And my advocacy right now with Miss Earth is still empowering people through environmental awareness and then still pushing for renewable technology. So I feel like they go hand in hand in a way that I can make other people realize that, oh, she's right. Parang we can actually make a change by leading ourselves in our community. We don't have to do something big because all these little actions combined just makes a huge difference.
Okay. My second and last question is, have you tried to talk with the leaders of Taguig City, and what is that one thing that you would want to suggest to them in regards with the environmental protection in your city?
Actually, yes, I've just talked to Mayor Lani Cayetano. So I love it that Mayor Lani is very open to suggestions because I'm an architect and I also did work with the Philippine Green Building Council, which is the licensing body for Verde. Verde is the scoring system for sustainable buildings in the Philippines. And fun fact is that in Taguig we have a tax exception for green buildings. So parang every developer who builds buildings in Taguig, they all want to build green buildings because we get tax exception. And then syempre, ayaw nila maiwan ng ibang developers na sila green buildings na dapat tayo din green buildings na. These are the kind of things that kind of drives change. And you don't make it as if you're forcing them to do these things. You make it seem like, I have to do this because this is the norm. So our goal is to make sustainability the norm.
Ano na nga pala yung trees mo? Yung lot trees?
My tree is the salimbobog tree. It's not a very well-known tree.
What's the name again?
Salimbobo.
Salimbobog.
Salimbobo.
Is it found in Taguig area ba?
No, it's actually found in Davao, in Palawan, and there's one in UP.
But why didn't you get like a tree that is growing in Taguig and suggest to plant that
Because the salimbobog tree po can also be planted in Taguig. Yeah. But it's just, to be honest, it's just not a well-known tree. So if I kinda relate that to myself, is that me, I'm a nobody in the pageant world. So I just feel like I relate to that tree because
Mamaya hindi ka na nobody.
Feature ka pa namin
Hindi ka na Salimbobo.
Pupunta ko sa page ni for the Philippines.
Speaking of, thank you, Sir Ferdinand Leon. Thank you. Speaking of, baptism of fire niya actually to. Kasi first time namin siyang makasama sa meet and greet. So, the next question is from Oyel from For the Philippines.
Hi, Saya. Oyel from For the Philippines. So
Oyel.
thank you, Mars, for inviting me. My first question is, how are you?
I'm okay, I'm doing great.
So, follow-up question is, aside from the issues from Mother Earth, nandun na tayo kasi you're talking about your advocacy, about pollution, something like that. So, my follow-up question is, there's still a long way to go to resolve the issues about treatment about women and LGBTQIA+ community. So what do you think is needed to truly resolve these issues? Is it equality or equity, and why?
I feel like definitely there's a long way to go, but I also believe that environmental problems are connected to all our societal problems as a whole. So I feel like if you've ever heard of environmental justice, I feel like to actually go to the root of environmental problems, it will slowly but surely solve this environmental justice issues, and then in turn kind of have a ripple effect in all the issues about women equality and water shortages. Everything is connected. So we really have to work to slowly solve the problem as well.
So, next question. So, sinabi mo nga, kailangan ma-resolve din about the problem issues about Earth. So, follow-up question is na connected din sa humans and then sa Mother Earth is, what can you say about jeepney phase out?
What?
I think jeepney phase out is definitely the way to go. But we all know that the only way to progress as a society is to move forward with technological advancement. But it shouldn't come at the cost of the people. So I feel like we should do it slowly with careful consideration of all parties involved. So right now I feel like there supposed to be more considerations, and we shouldn't say, oh, we're gonna go for Jigny phase out because this is what's where we're headed. We can still be headed there, but we can do it more slowly.
Oo, pinapanood ka ng piston lane.
Kasi dami pa namang bagat sa road. Nawawa sila.
Wala pa na tayo biglang sumasakay doon.
So for the last question, and if you would, given a chance to allocate national budget,
Yes.
so saan mo siya i-allocate at why?
I will definitely allocate it to a more dignified housing for the people. So when I say dignified housing, I don't want people to think that having a safe place to live or something to call home is expensive, because it's really not. When I say this, I'm gonna go back to something I mentioned last night, is that even before all the trend about sustainable buildings are with us, we already had a sustainable building that is truly Filipino, which is the Bahay Kuko. Because it's perfect for the tropical country, and it's made out of local materials, which is perfect. So I feel like if we can get inspiration from that, we can provide dignified housing for everyone. And it's important because if you have a home that you can feel safe on, which is also one of the basic needs of a person, right? I feel like some aspects of your life will be easier as well.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Akala ko may fifth. Thank you, Ayan.
Hi, perfect.
Next question is from For the Philippines, going tayo sa the Philippine pageantry.
Hi, Saya. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I overheard a while ago you mentioned that your real reason in plunging into pageantry is really to further your volunteerism in your cause for the environment. Kasi sabi mo kanina, after you do volunteer works, after you do this projects for causes, you were thinking, what will happen to the people afterwards?
Yeah.
Parang gano'n. So you wanted to be more impactful.
Yes.
So how do you see a one single beauty queen like you can do that kind of impact?
Of course, I'm not the only one who's gonna do it. So I feel like if I'm going to represent Miss Earth as an organization, it will also give me the power and the confidence to reach out to organizations and policymakers to help me through this cause. And then with the help of everyone, we can make bigger impact. So it really takes a village to just make lasting change.
So why the platform of pageantry then?
I feel like it gives you the confidence and the platform. And for me personally, the journey hasn't been that far yet, but it gave me so much already. So for example, one example would be the belief that my voice can be amplified to shed light on the things that aren't really talked about.
And you have mentioned this organization or this movement, which is the acronym is EARTH. Can you repeat the definition of that acronym before for my next question?
Okay, so Project EARTH stands for Environmental Awareness and Renewable Technology for Humanity.
You have this is a specific project or organization that you have been involved before, or this is the project that you are pursuing as a Miss Philippines candidate?
This is the project I'm pursuing as a candidate.
As a candidate.
But the organization that I'm part of is called Feeding Change Philippines.
First, who thought of this acronym or this project?
It was actually me thinking about it for like a week. For like a whole week, because I was thinking, how do I marry my love for empowering people and then my background as an architect? So, and then I also, with my advocacy, I wanted to not just focus on the communities, I want to focus on communities and policymakers. So that's...
So what is the goal, the mission and vision of this Earth project that you are pursuing?
The mission of it is to, of course, empower people into believing that they can make a difference, and then also bringing in the help of policymakers to make this possible. And then the vision is actually make it a full-fledged organization.
And one of the words there is technology.
Yes.
So how would you marry that into the platform of Miss Philippines Earth?
I feel like technology is something we can't really subtract from where we are now as society, because there are so many technological advancements that's going into our life right now. So I don't really feel like it's something that can be separated as of now.
For my last question, one of our colleagues asked you earlier about the jeepney phase out or the modernization for jeepneys. In your project, the Earth Project, you have tied the word technology and humanity.
Yes.
So how are you going to convince those who do not believe that jeepney modernization should be done now? Because this has been happening for more than 10 years, for more than 20 years actually. And if we keep delaying this and keep dramatizing or romanticizing poverty, how are we going to use your ideas of marrying technology and humanity together for this jeepney modernization project?
Well, first of all, a question that pops into my head when I heard that question from you is that, are we really romanticizing poverty? Because for me, it's a real thing. And I feel like, yes, we can, again, like I said, yes, I believe that is the way towards the future. Modernizing our transportation system, but again, we have to carefully consider it. And we can't just tell people, oh, you can't just plant a seed one day and then expect food the next day. That's how I would say it. You have to plant a seed and then tend to it first. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Di ba intelligence round na? Intelligence round na. The next question is, yung kasamahan namin na one-sided yung tinatawag. From pageant trends, Sir
Oh my
Jay,
God.
Margo.
Thank you so much, Mars.
So
Hi,
one-sided.
Hi, Sarah. This is Jay from Pageant Trend. So, as you mentioned a while ago that you are a first timer in this pageantry. So, as a first timer, what are the hardest thing of joining the pageants like Miss Philippines?
I feel like for me the hardest thing that I face is myself. Because there will be, even though people will tell you, oh, you're so great, you're doing great, there will always be a voice inside your head that will say, oh, you're not good enough for this.
Another follow-up question. So since the Miss Philippines Earth is fast approaching, so how was your preparation in this pageant?
I will say my preparation for this pageant is actually better than I expected. So I will call myself lucky because never in my journey have I felt alone. So yeah. I'm sorry if I'm getting emotional because I never really thought that help will come.
And then the last question.
Akala ko last na yun.
Hindi, follow pa lang yun. Yung follow pa lang. Hindi, ito ang pinaka-last na talaga. So how, if you are going to describe your journey as a Miss Philippines Earth candidate, in one word, what is it and why?
It's guided. Guided because every time that I need something or someone, parang there will always be a random person who will come to me, like friends, who will come to me and offer help. And that's how I would say that my journey is guided, because everything that I need just comes to me.
Guided.
Manifestation.
Guide. Oh,
Maganda yung pangalan ng France, guided. Huwag lang yung views.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much, Mars France.
Thank you, Sir J. Barbo. The next question, Miss J. Barbo. Lalayo pa ba tayo ang borta ng pageant? Ang borta ng pageantry, Arvin Cabachete. Anton Eder of Pageanto.
So,
Tayo kay
Pwede
pakinig
mo.
mo.
Diba? Grabe yung katawan niya pero yung boses niya is.
so yun nga, regarding sa pag-join mo since first time mag-join sa beauty pageant. Sa dami-dami ng beauty pageant dito sa Philippines, like meron naman tayo Nutya,
Yeah.
Miss Supranational or Miss Universe. Bakit Miss Philippines?
Like I said earlier, I did try for Binibini last year. But then, when they will ask me about my advocacy, I feel like it didn't feel right. And then, alam mo yung when you were coming out of the Binibini auditions, there's gonna be media out there. And then the media will tell me, oh, you look like you should join Miss Earth. So parang, it kind of pondered in my mind, why will they say that? But of course, I didn't join Miss Earth because people told me to. So as I was researching the Miss Earth organization, I feel like, and I was researching about the winners, so I feel like it hit home for me. Parang, oh, what they stand for is also what I stand for.
So follow-up question.
Yes.
Kwento mo naman sa amin yung journey mo since day 1 hanggang
ngayon.
Ayaw nga ba?
Oh my gosh.
From day 1
From day one. That pala nag-vlog ako from day one. So from day one, if I remember it correctly, from day one,
The moment you have decided.
the
that
moment
you
that
will
I've
be joining.
decided, I feel like ang hirap naman. I'm trying to remember what I did on day one. So, yeah, I feel like it's just, there's not a very detailed description of it because just like Tito said, it really is a plunge. I just submitted my form and then I just know in myself that I want to take on this journey. But there's not a very complex description of it. It's just like, alam mo yung parang buo yung loob mo to take on this journey.
Kamusta naman yung mga co-candidates mo, yung relationships?
Yeah, they're actually great. We were able to do a sponsor visit yesterday. And then, I've always been a big believer of communities. So my very first ever community is a workout community for women called FlexFit Philippines. And I feel like that's where I develop a lot of my confidence into speaking, because before I will just hide in a corner and not speak to anyone in a social function. So I think the sisterhood in pageants is another way of getting you out of your shell, and then you will always know that you will have them even after the pageant.
Super last na.
Super last.
May megalas pa yan.
Pinaka-megalas mo sa co-candidates.
I feel like the closest person that I'm with right now is Naomi, Miss Dasmariñas Cavite. Because we actually talked via Instagram even before meeting in person. So she will always send me, oh, Ate Seiya, hi, and then I will always message her if I see her stories. Yeah.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Meron kang megalas.
Thank you, Anton Eder. And second to the last question is from Manila actually. Mahal ko, Manila. Charing lang. From Entertainment News Portal.
Hi, Sia.
Hi. I'm great.
My first question is, bakit ikaw ang dapat na manalo Miss Earth?
I feel like technicality-wise, my background as an architect and a project manager and a marketing specialist is perfect for the Miss Earth the Miss Earth job. So I call it job more than a crown. So because I know how to build projects from the start, and then actually manage the project. If I'm gonna call it project, I can manage it to be cost effective if we need it for the organization, and then like within timeline, which organizations should we collaborate with. I'm very detailed in that kind of sense. And then my experience with marketing, of course, is that I know how to resonate with the audience to make the project reach even more people. So I think job-wise, that is it. And then I will also say that my passion for the job is beyond. It's like I couldn't put it into words, but what I realized with my work with Feeding Change Philippines is that I feel so beautiful when I'm in service or if I'm serving others. So I feel like that passion together with my technical background is the perfect mix for being Miss Earth.
Gusto ko yun, yung mga technical background. So architect pala siya.
Di ba
These
CR na
are
kayo
the
yung mga parang candidates? Kayo ni one person na gusto mo parang makatap sa finals? Yung parang
The last two standing.
Ang ka-holding.
Ka-holding hands mo. Sino
Okay.
ka?
Aside sa'yo.
I feel like it's Crystal
Krista.
from Mindanao.
Oh,
Yeah.
why?
Because I feel like she's equally passionate as me.
So ikaw, there's
Yes.
Still correct.
You mentioned parang earlier na parang first time yung sa Bali. So, meron bang nagbago sa'yo before ng pageant tapos ngayon na Miss Philippines or candidate? Ano yung mga major changes?
I think the major change is that I believe in myself so much more. It kind of gives you power that if I can do a pageant, I can probably do anything. Because it's so hard. I didn't realize before joining the pageant how hard it is. So now I have a newfound appreciation and respect.
Ano yung pong skills niya?
I'm just curious, bakit mo ang kinuha yung course mo?
So,
Architecture.
so actually before, my first choice is I wanted to go into animation. Because as a child, I always wanted, I don't know, maybe I was a weird child, but I always wanted to make people feel better. And then when I was a child, making others feel better for me is through Disney. So I wanted to work for Disney sana before, but I wasn't really aware that there's an animation course in the Philippines before when I was taking my college entrance exam.
Sino favorite mo Disney characters? Si Ariel.
Yeah. Si Ariel. That's why I wanted to be a mermaid.
parang pwede ka sa Apak of the Universe.
So you do painting?
Yes, I do love painting. So I went into architecture because I was thinking, what are the other things that I can do to make other people feel better? And then I have a couple of family members who are engineers. So I'm aware of what they do, but it's very technical. So I'm thinking, I've always been artistic, so I thought that, maybe what I can do is design spaces that people can feel better in. Which is true because it kinda, a space really makes you feel better sometimes. Like, in a way na parang sometimes, di ba, you want to work in this certain coffee shop because it makes you feel productive. Parang ganun.
Saan ka nag-aaral?
FEU. Moraita.
So nag-work na yun, girl?
I'm on leave.
Leave, oo. Kaya sabihin, so paano ka, saan naka-leave ka? Ilang months na, girl? Taol na nga.
The whole April. The whole April. So I'm...
supportive naman si company.
Yeah.
Alright.
And last question coming from the last person who entered this room. Pero maiintindihan namin because yung partner niya, yung mom ng partner niya passed away. So, tagal mo. Pero condolence kay Christian. Pero the last question is from Jonathan Santos from The Crown.
Hi, Sarah. Siguro to find out who was the session na should you win Miss Philippines Earth, how will you use the power, the position, or the title to change the environment?
Should you win Miss
If you win Miss Philippines Earth, how will you use the power or the title to change or to influence how people protect Mother Earth?
Okay. So first of all, I feel like to encourage people to protect Mother Earth. You can't just say, oh, we should protect Mother Earth, we should do this, these are the things, these are the policies in place for us to do this. I feel like, first of all, you have to make it fun. You have to make it interactive for people. So maybe one of the things right now that's coming in my mind is that maybe I will work with an organization to build an app for it. Right now there's no a specific app in my head, but an app to make it fun. So if you've heard of Pokemon Go, something like that, diba? It will be so fun to save the environment with a game, diba? Especially with young people. So that's one. And then another one is, of course, I'm always a believer of education. So I would love to go into school tours. I actually did a school tour in Taguig, and it was so fun because the kids were like, even though I feel like they don't know what's going on, but they just wanna get involved in what you wanna say or what you're gonna say or what you're doing. So it's always fun to interact with kids. And then lastly is, of course, like what I've always been saying kanina pa, is sit down with policymakers talaga, because they are the ones who really have the influence.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, pageant media friends. But before we end our mini meet and greet, gusto ko lang hingan ng